So I want to go into Uttanasana with the same emphasis, which means I take a high chair, whatever height I need, even put blocks on the chair if necessary. And I don't want to round my back. I want to put my feet on the floor, feet slightly apart. Any attempt from here to bend the elbows and go down, that must begin in the rotation of the thigh and in releasing the pelvis. So to bend forward, don't go forward with your head and then try to increase the pelvis. That's all right for somebody who has back problem. But if there is no such back problem, begin the action in the pelvis, rotating the thighs into each other, drop the pelvis. I'm not dropping my chest at all. I keep dropping my pelvis, meaning the hip bones towards the floor. If that happens, then very carefully I go a little lower down. Again, stop here. Again, rotate the thigh in, untuck the pelvis. So the action always begins in the lower body to fold forward. And then if I can reach the chair that way, I again emphasize the same thing. If you can go further down, if you're holding your toes and your ribs are touching the thigh, the same would apply. To go any further here, rotate the thighs into each other, begin that folding in the pelvis. Go to Uttanasana step by step. Don't be in a hurry. Pay attention to the fact that each time you decide to fold forward a little more, the action begins not in your rib cage, but just in the pelvis, rotating the thighs into each other, stamping on the outer heels, taking right hip bone toward the left, left toward the right. Release the pelvis. If I'm near you physically, I would not want to see anybody's lumbar poking up. The sit bone should go hit the ceiling. Keeping the head still supported. If your floating ribs come to meet the thigh, then only take the head lower down. And those are able to get that far, then even to take the upper chest more into the forward bend, forward fold, begin that action also in the pelvis, not in the chest. Soft eyes, ears, tongue, throat. Then as per your capacity, take your hands behind you, interlock your fingers, stretch the arm through the wrist and lower the arm more and more towards the head. Chidanandarupa Shivoham Shivoham Chidanandarupa Shivoham Shivoham. Make sure the kneecap is not dropped. Chidanandarupa Shivoham Shivoham. Tadasana. Prasarita Padottanasana. Standing this way, go forward. Put your hands on the floor. Keep the arms for now in a vertical position. Don't take the hands back. Untucking the pelvis. Lift the head as high as you can. If my teacher was here, he would come and hold your chin and yank it up. Inhale, come up and watch. I just want to address one part, okay, which is the Saraswati Nadi. Saraswati Nadi begins with all the other nadis in the Skandasthana. It ends up in your tongue. So when you are in a posture like that and lifting the head high up, the effect of that you want to feel deep inside the spine from the tongue into that. Imagine Saraswati Nadi, it's in the center, just behind the two, so Sushumna and Ida and Pingala. In the middle is what? In the middle is Sushumna. In front of the Sushumna is the, in the back of the Sushumna is Saraswati Nadi. Let me describe that again because I wasn't clear. If you look at Skandasthana, there are 14 nadis there. In the middle, in the very center of Skandasthana is Sushumna. On the left of Sushumna is Ida. On the right is Pingala. Those three are major nadis. Immediately behind the Sushumna is Saraswati. That's where you want to feel the stretch. So as I bend forward and I lift the head up, the sensation is from the tongue through behind the Sushumna, as it were, in the back of the body. Okay, just have that imagined picture in your mind. We will do this in Prasarita Padottanasana with the arms on the floor. And as you lift the head up, like you sometimes do in Simhasana, you can even open the mouth, stick the tongue out, but it's not for sake of just stretching the tongue. So create an imaginary line from the tip of the tongue through the center of the spine, and then imagine a line just behind that center of the spine, still within the spine, all the way to the base of the body. When somebody has lost their ability to speak, the sense of speech, through an accident, this is the area that we work on. So that for that person is made to even crawl forward or walk forward with the tailbone releasing forward, femur releasing back. That is to create this effect on the Saraswati Nadi. So if you now bend your elbows and take the hands further back in the line of the toes,
The sensation should not be that the Saraswati Nadi is rising towards the back of the body. It falls forward towards the tailbone and even towards the pubis. Only its length is retained. To stretch that particular nadi forward more, often in this pose, the head is not taken back. Head is allowed to round and you put the head on the back of the skull. Take your hands back. No, not back like that. In line of the toes. Fingers in line of your toes. When you put the head back like that, the idea is not to stretch the cervical spine. That would be a wrong stretch. The idea is to stretch the Saraswati Nadi. Chidanandarupaha Shivoham Shivoham Chidanandarupaha Shivoham Shivoham Chidanandarupaha Shivoham Shivoham. And come up, Tadasana. Having paid some attention to that more deep inner working, you can then translate that to other standing poses. Prakshasana first. Take support of the wall as necessary. Take the right foot up first. Be careful when you take the right foot up, tendency is to take the right knee back too quickly. The two halves of the pelvis should not twist. The tendency is to take the right hip bone back with it. Don't take the right hip bone back. Move the right hip bone forward. So the sense of taking the left thigh back is like in Padottanasana. Don't twist the body from the pelvis. Support the head as necessary. Support. Watch this here. If I try to see the space between the sit bone and the center of the spine, on one side, if I feel there is less space, let's say on her right side, there is less space, on the left side, there is a little more space. To create more space on the left side, don't do anything with the left sit bone. Move the center of the spine and the left half of the body towards the left more. Okay? Don't push the right side out. Got it? Prasarita Padottanasana. First discover what is the sense of space between the two sit bones and the center of the spine. And if I look at Andrea's body, I feel there is more space on the left side, less on the right side. You have to decide on which side there is more space. If there is more space on the left side, then take the center of the spine and that left sit bone, everything more towards the left to create more space on the right side. That sense would apply to problems of the lower back. If on the lower back, she has less space in any of the vertebrae there on the left side, then to create space there, don't do anything with the left side. Move the right side out to the right. Tadasana. Prasarita, sit in Upavishtakonasana. In Upavishtakonasana, by rotation, you have created all the space we talked about earlier. But then as you go down, as you are able to take the head down, whatever support you make. As I stay here in this position, I again begin to discover what is the sense of space between the center of the spine and the sit bone. And again, I find on the left side there is less space, on the right side there is more space. To create more space on the right side where it is lacking, I don't want to push the right sit bone into that. Use the opposite side from the central spine to the left thigh bone. Move the pelvis towards this side. Apply the same to anywhere in the back where there is a lack of space. Go everybody to that pose. I can't describe it any more clearly. I think if you want more clear description, you'll have to come physically here. So I can do Mr. Anga's trick on it. What it does is he will hit you on that side. Hey, move here. Like that.
Would you put it like horizontally or?
No, two sticks. One this way and one that way, just below the sit bone, at the top of the thigh. Yes. It will be at an angle. If you put a weight on the thigh, have that sense of completely receiving the weight. If you put a support like Jerry is doing between your back and the wall, that's good. But see that that is not just pushing your floating ribs forward, it is lifting the parachute. Widen the feet, widen the toes away from each other, activate those arches. To come out of the pose, see that you are breathing freely. Don't drop the parachute to come out. Breathing freely, release the pose, come out, stand in Tadasana. Preferably, see there is a wall behind you in case you need the support. And if I look at most people standing in this pose, if nothing else, no other instruction is given, the tendency is to put little more weight on the ball of the foot. Here I am asking you to be more aware of the back body. Lean back towards the wall. Put more weight on your heels. My teacher loved to teach of this pose like it's a little motor car. So there are two wheels in the front, two wheels at the back. When you put the heel down, it's the two rear wheels that you are grounding. Now carefully, without losing that grounding, can you take the weight to the front wheel also? As you do that, as all the four wheels grip the floor, lift the arches up. Keeping the foot wide, lift the arches up. The arch along your big toe is the strongest arch. The arch along your small toe is the, I won't say weakest, but softest arch. You want to lift both. But then pay attention much more to the arch of your ring toe, the fourth toe, the one next to the pinky toe. Find the crown of that arch and lift it up. The energy of activating the arch like that also goes to help in a more subtle way to lift your parachute even up. Brain still releases in on inhalation, out on exhalation. You're not gripping your jaws to lift the arches up. And after a few breaths, if that inner sense comes that I am more and more effortlessly standing with the arches lifted, there is effort in the arch, but otherwise the body is floating over that. Very carefully, keep the deep space in the inner ears. You will tend to lose that space when I ask you to close your eyes. See that closure of the eyes increases that depth in the inner ears, not decrease. If you can do that, you can stay with eyes closed without losing the balance. Open your eyes. Prasarita Padottanasana. The friction of the floor helps, so you don't need a belt around the feet. Otherwise, the action is very similar to what you did to start with your legs up on the wall. So don't think of taking the feet apart. From the top of the femur, release outwards. If you find that release with the hip bones rotating circularly towards each other, then very carefully, almost reluctantly, move the feet a little further away. Do not move the feet away to strain the inner hamstring. As the top of the femurs get more sense of moving away from each other, push on the outer heel. Lifting the arches up, push on the outer heel bone. Very carefully, without changing that pressure on the heel, circularly move the right hip bone to the left, left hip bone to the right. Attempting to rediscover that space, wide space in the sacrum. Only if you find that sense of space in the back of the sacrum, then attempt to see that space in the front of the sacrum. Otherwise not. And then from the front of the sacrum to the front of the tailbone. And again, as I go progressively into little deeper aspects, if my head diaphragm begins to go the wrong way, I would not go further in the pose. Keep working on releasing that head diaphragm. But if I can, staying in the pose, next aspect that my teacher would emphasize is lift your head up, as though the back of the skull is hitting the dorsal spine, without hardening the tongue, eyes, or ears. As the tailbone releases towards the pubis, towards the floor, and you lift the head up, that lift of the head comes as though that there is a pranic continuity from the front of the tailbone to back of the sternum to lifting the head. If I want to take the head down to the floor, what I want to do is I begin that action with rotating the top femurs a little more in, then lowering the trunk. Again, watching that the parachute is not dropped. If the space in the ear decreases or the parachute is dropped, don't go down like that. Keep your head even higher on a support. But if you can, go ahead and put the head on the floor. Upper arms parallel to each other. Even go on the back of the head, those who can. To come out of the pose, generally on inhalation, pay attention to that parachute and the space in the ears. Come out with that. Trikonasana.